music, athletics, arts, and entertainment. The Desert Tiger Podcast with Colton Geschwantner.
Our interests and our tastes, especially those that we develop in our youth, are shaped greatly by the people around us and the situations we encounter as we grow. Whether it's the sports we enjoy playing or watching, the food we enjoy cooking and eating, the style of TV or movie that you would like to watch, the type of art you put in your house, the clothes you wear on your body, the genres of music you listen to, or really anything that can kind of fall under that jurisdiction. Whether it comes from a cultural icon, a mentor or a teacher, a friend, or first but definitely not least, your parents. Some of us at a young age are rebellious to their influence, having fallen under the foolish belief that they just aren't as cool as we want them to be. So obviously they just can't understand us or the things that we're into. The rest of us are much easier to embrace the possible connection and mutual love that could exist between us and our parentals. Long before any of my friends clued me into the directions punk and metal were heading, I was being introduced to the likes of Iron Maiden, Green Day, The Misfits, The Offspring, Ozzy Osbourne. There was a ton of them, all through my father's CD and record collection. The same can be said for two of the members of today's guest on the show. The Discarded from Orangeville, Ontario. For bassist Jared, who is 19, and drummer Caden, who is 15, their relationship with garage rock and punk music started with the band's third and final member, their father, JP. JP has been a drummer who has spent years in the Toronto punk and hardcore scene, and he was approached by both of his sons, Jared and Caden, about 2 years ago with the idea of starting up a family band, playing the types of music they all had a mutual love for. Starting off with some covers and building their way up quick, the band is ready to release their second album in 2 years. Manifesto, which releases this February 24th. A punk rock banger of an album front to back, The Discarded really put a whole new perspective on what the idea of a multi-generation family band can be. They aren't the Jackson 5, and they definitely aren't the Osmonds. So if you were expecting something soft, flowy, and happy, something campy that you would expect from a multi-generational family band, you should throw that expectation out of the window. Because even with the two members' youth, these guys know how to bring it. They know how to put on a killer show, and they know how to bring the energy. So welcome to episode 24 with my guests, Jared, Caden, and JP of The Discarded. My name is Colton Geschwantner, and as always, every single week, every single Thursday, I am your host here on the Desert Tiger Podcast. Alright, so before we get into our music, before we get into any of that, first off, we gotta thank you guys, the listeners. Whatever you're listening on, wherever you're listening from, whoever you are, big shout out, big whoop whoop, big thank you guys for tuning in. You guys kill it every single week and we love ya. Mwah. Alright, so we gotta take care of a little bit of business. We gotta take care of playing you guys some music, and then we're gonna get into our interview with The Discarded. So first and foremost, I'm gonna tell you guys how to save a little bit of money if you are copping yourself some sick gear over at the Collar and Elbow web store. What's Collar and Elbow, you ask? Well, Collar and Elbow is a wrestling-inspired streetwear company that was started by Mr. Al Snow. That's right, the former WWE superstar, Mr. What Do You Want, Mr. What Do You Need. He went ahead and started up Collar and Elbow so that wrestling fans could not only show their love of wrestling, but they could also sort of show off the roots of wrestling. And if you guys go ahead and use the code DTP, that's just DTP, it's that easy. When you're checking out of the Collar and Elbow web store, you're going to go ahead and save yourself 10 extra %. Alright, I also need to take a moment to tell you guys about Audible. You guys have heard constantly about how much I love Audible. If you're someone who loves reading like I do, if you're someone who loves books as much as I do, but maybe you don't have the time to read as much as you would like to because you're at the gym, or you're driving, or you're mowing the lawn, or whatever else you're doing, I'm going to tell you how to get 1 free month of the Audible service plus 1 free audiobook to try it out. If you go ahead and head on over to www.audible.com/DTP, you're going to go ahead and get yourself that 1 free month of the Audible service plus that 1 free audio book to get you started, to get you rolling, to get you learning, and get you exploring. Alright, so now that we've taken care of business, now that we've done the intro, and now that you know who our guests are, and you already know who I am, it's time to get into some music. So let's kick things off with a little bit of Discarded to get you revved up. This is Toxic Reasons.
I
Desert Tiger Podcast.
So we are here with the Discarded. If everybody wants to go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you do in the band.
My name's JP. I'm the guitar player and singer. I'm Jared, the bassist of the band and the lead guitarist on More Cocky Days. No, he isn't. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Caden. I'm the drummer.
That's it. We're a three-piece.
All right, awesome. You guys are also family. That is correct?
Yeah. I'm their dad, and Jared's my 19-year-old son, the bass player, and Caden is 15 and he's the drummer. We started off when Jared was 17 and Caden was 13. And quite the journey.
Okay, so what ended up leading to the decision to make a family punk band? I mean, it's not very often that a punk band is something that is a multi-generational affair.
Well, I've been a drummer in hardcore and punk bands during, the 80s and 90s. So, I played that sort of music. And the kids had grown up. They'd listened to some of the stuff I did, and I convinced them that the Ramones was kids' music. So that was kind of, and the Super Suckers was like his 5-year-old birthday song.
You always bring that up.
So we kind of had that was the sort of stuff that they listened to. So we used to fool around and play together down in the room with all the instruments and that. And then a couple of years ago, they were kind of like, "Hey, can we do this for real?" And that's sort of the songs that we sort of played and sounded like. It was like really garagey. What was that first album you ever learned to play drums to?
The Cramps, I think.
Yeah, he played Bad Music for Bad People was what he kind of like played along to when he first started playing drums. So that's sort of just where it flowed from there after that point.
Awesome. So did you get the kids into playing music like when they were younger, or was that something that they started doing when you guys decided to make the band, or how did that all come together?
Personally, for me, I tried picking up guitar when I was a lot younger, but I never got into it. But as I grew up, I sort of regretted not picking it up. So eventually I settled with bass, mainly just because I like the feel of it, and just I like being the low end. And I wanted a practical application, so that's sort of how we got into it.
So, yeah, a couple of years ago, they picked up their instruments. There's always been a drum set or a guitar amp or a guitar around, and they'd play around with it. And Caden, I guess, would bash out on the drums, I guess, for longer until he took it up seriously. And like we said, Jared picked up the bass a couple of years ago, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago that they decided, hey, we're going to actually try and be serious at it. But it was always there. It was always around. There was always musical instruments in the house. There was always a drum set up somewhere.
Okay. That's a very conductive environment towards music then.
Yeah, and I'd always have an acoustic guitar around or be playing something. And, we'd always have music playing. On our road trips, we don't really throw on the DVD player. We kind of play DJ, and each of us will play different songs to each other without getting vetoed off the stereo because you played too many of the same band in a row. Jared. No, we don't want to listen to 3 albums of the same band. Don't be charged.
I'm someone who likes the feel of a whole record, so I can kind of back that, but I also understand wanting to have some variance.
Well, we don't mind even maybe an whole record if you're going to let us. It's just when you don't let the person know, and then all of a sudden you're getting an entire retrospective of a Japanese composer who does anime soundtracks.
Psychedelic rock that happened to be used in an anime.
Okay,
right.
I got it. But all I'm saying is, you're hearing, why did both bands break up? It isn't the music. It's because I couldn't stand when he put on the record on the radio station.
I like to think of it as 2 sides of the same coin.
Right. So our whole thing is, this is kind of our rule of thumb. You play DJ, but you got to play the car. You can't play yourself. If you want to do that, just put your earbuds in. If you want to play DJ, then you got to play the other people in the car and what they might like as well.
Okay. That's a pretty good rule to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, and so it's worked out so far. There's only been a couple of little skirmishes because of that.
You're playing it up.
Go ahead.
Okay, so off the bat, did you guys know that you wanted to get in the studio and record, or were you more worried about like playing shows? Like, did you guys start writing right away? Like, how did? No, go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say, to answer your question there, we kind of we got together February 2016. And a friend of ours was having a party, and she asked my band that I was in if they wanted to play, and I knew a guy couldn't make it, so I said, well, I've been kind of goofing around with the kids. Can we come and do a short little set? And she went, yeah, you're on the bill. So that was like, oh, I guess we got to learn 5 songs that we all know and practice them and be ready for it. So then we did like 3 or 4 shows, kind of like little private little things. A friend had a thing at he has a party at his farm each year, and we went out to that and we played a Canada Day thing, and then we after that we were kind of like, we got a pretty cool sound going. Our friend Ian Blurton, he recorded the first album, recorded the second album, plays in like Public Animal, he's playing Come On, he's playing a lot of bands. I've known him for a long time. He's a pretty heavy guitar player, and he records a pretty heavy sound as well. I thought, hey, it'd be cool to capture it. And then when we kind of did it, it was kind of like, wow, this is pretty cool. It kind of really captured that moment of that last album and that. And we just intensively practiced and got ready and did the recording. And then after that, we played a whole bunch. So, and wrote a whole second album, which got up to this particular one. So when that album came out exactly last February, we were like, wow, let's play with that. We got to open for a band called the Sonics, 1960s pioneer of garage rock at the Danforth. We did a Southern Ontario tour. We did about, I think it was 20-some shows last year. And it was just like, we already had like an album and a half's worth of stuff. We were like, and these guys here really jumped in their playing. They went from just being like this garage rock band on the first one to, wow, they can really play now. So we went in and recorded the second one a year later.
Like, for context, on the first album, I had been playing bass for like 6 months. Like, I just picked it up 6 months previous. And after that, it really gave me the confidence to sort of like really get into learning my instrument. So it's really night and day, my playing on the first and the upcoming second album. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, how about Caden? How did his playing improve between the albums?
Well, on the first album, I was just worried about, staying on tempo. And for the second one, I gotten more comfortable, so I just decided to, do some cooler fills, some cooler drum beats and stuff like that.
And me, from my point of view, those guys, if you listen to the first album, it's good. It's like really garage rock. It's a really good sound. But they jumped so much in their playing because they've been playing for 7 months on the first album.
Yeah.
And they just took off on the second one, right? It's just like, that exposure, playing all the time. We live together. We can practice 2-3 times a week, and then all of a sudden, zoom, man, and we're playing shows in front of people. It was all of a sudden like, bam, they just jumped to a whole different level. It's like, hey, we're actually a really cool rockin' band now, right? Mm-hmm. And Jarrett was doing like these interesting bass lines, like he'd go away every time I'd write a song. He'd come back with this interesting bass line, like a counter melody, and Caden didn't have to worry about just, I'm just going to lay the beat down. He's like throwing rolls in and fills and, different sort of types of drum beats and that. So it was really cool. Like now it's not just me saying, here's a song. Now it's like all 3 of us writing a part for that song to make it a greater whole.
Okay, that's awesome. It's great how the band sort of grew up as, like, the kids grew up as well.
Yeah, and this is kind of a cool thing because, it's like I am their dad in that, and there are things that's like, we got your dad, but here it's more like we can relate to each other as peers, You're in a band together. It's a great sort of thing, playing music together, relating to each other. Everyone has their own say in what they want to see come to the song or what's working and not working, and we're more of a unit now. So, you got to be cohesive as a band, so that's kind of cool that way, and everyone's bringing their own parts.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to contributing a few of my own songs.
Yeah, and lately Jarrett's even wrote one song and the riffs in that, and even now my writing used to be here's the song, guys, here it goes. Caden, here's a drum beat that goes with it, because I was originally a drummer. And now it's just like, we'll even jam stuff out and get down a cool riff, and I'll come back with the words later and maybe add maybe a bridge or a intro part, but we're kind of writing them more together and each of us bringing our own part to it.
Awesome. So, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, it's just kind of a cool development that we've had happen over the last year.
Awesome. So for the boys, what is it like having somebody like right there who has years of stage experience and writing experience? Like, has that helped you guys progress as musicians and grow?
Oh, without a doubt, it's insanely helpful because it's basically a foot in the door. You got someone who knows the ropes, knows how to do things, and you can just teach it all to you. I don't know where I'd be as a musician without him, really. Kane, you want to add anything?
Here's your $5, Jared. Caden?
For me, it was just easy because he would do all the hard stuff and I could just drum. So that part was good, but as a musician, I mostly just got good by myself. So
yeah. No, well, it is true. You gotta, and that's a big thing. I play drums, but I think it's really important that Caden develops his own drum parts. Not like, here's my drum part, you're gonna play like this. I might have an idea what I want him to do, but it's pretty important that you come up with your own feel and your own groove, and either he was gonna get it or not. It's not me who's gonna be able to do it for him. I guess in the early go, sure, I could bring something to a rehearsal that you might not get in, say, 3 teenagers together. It's sort of like, okay, we're going to rehearse. We're going to get the structure of the songs down. We're going to rehearse the set like it's a set, not with 5 or 10 minutes in between each song. And we kind of go through things so they see a sort of a work ethic of what we're bringing. Okay, it's a show. We all got to pack our gear. We all got to put our stuff out there. This is what a sound check is like. This is how we got to treat people that we're around. You got to be respectful to the sound person, respectful for the person who's booking the club. So maybe there's a bit of that you might not know if you're just kind of coming in there and thinking like, I'm a rock star, I'm great. Their 5th show was at the Danforth Music Hall in Toronto, which holds like 1,000 people, right? So it's like all of a sudden, like, great guys, this is, most bands don't get this after 10 years. We've got it after, 5 shows. So, you peaked. So it's all downhill from here. No, I'm just kidding. But learning how to do a sound check on a big stage like that, or where you've got individual monitor mixes, as opposed to this one we're going to be playing off the floor and you're not even going to hear the vocals, right?
first time with using mic drums.
Straightforward. He can't hear you, man.
It was my first time using mic drums on the Danforth. I'd never experienced that.
Actually, you had it at the Hard Rock. Wasn't that?
Yeah, but I didn't play them. Like, I didn't have to test them.
Right. Doing a sound check. You're right.
Yeah, it's really helped us develop a work ethic. Like, on a good day, we can get in and out of a club on, like, an hour, really. Like, set up, play, break everything down, get out.
Well, because sometimes we're not allowed to stay in clubs because Caden's underage.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple of things like that where it's just like he's allowed to be on stage, he's allowed to be backstage, but he's not allowed to go around the club. So as opposed to, hey, go sit out in the car by yourself, it's kind of like, okay, we're here, we're set up, we go on. Okay, we take our stuff down. Okay, we kind of got to go because he's 15, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has that happened where anybody has, like, had an issue with him being in the building or, like, wanted him to stay outside or anything like that? Because, like...
Funny you say that.
Well, it's funny you say that. Our last show that occurred for the first time. There's rules. Second last. There's rules and regulations around what you're allowed to do. An entertainer's allowed to be on stage. An entertainer's allowed to be backstage or in the dressing room. And in certain places, you can introduce them to a bouncer and the bartender and put an X on his hand, and they know that he's the underage entertainment, and they're cool with it. And that was the way it was all. Now, we booked at this one club, and I'm not. We booked at this one club, and the guy who booked us knew what was going on. Yeah. So when we got there, the lady who was the manager kind of pulled a power trip and went, this is my club, and he's not allowed in it. And I go, well, he's playing, right? This is why everyone's coming here tonight, right? It's our show. Well, he needs to sit out in the car. Well, it's December. It's -20. Would you do this to a dog? No. But it's okay to send a kid to go sit out in a freaking cold car.
Yeah.
So it ended up being, okay, I'll be out in the car with him. You guys text me when we can go on. And we'll leave right afterwards and go sit out in the car again. And we did that all night. And it was, and afterwards, like, oh, you guys were really good. And I go, yeah, well, thanks for treating us like dirt. But yeah, you know,
Quite the mood killer.
yeah. But you know, we rocked a little bit angrier that night.
Game was surprisingly cool about it, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bit of a drag. That's been the only time.
Well, that's unfortunate, but it's good that you guys could show her off and show that maybe she wanted you guys to stick around a little bit after and talk to everybody and everything.
Yeah, we didn't mouth her. We didn't say anything like that. Again, it's just like, hey, all right, that's it. We tried to appeal to her that we've done this. This is the ruling. This is the laws, and it was just more of a power trip. And other people were getting a bit more upset than we were. And we went, yeah, don't make it a big deal. We'll just go sit there. And what did you end up doing, Caden?
I finished my English. That was kind of almost late.
Yeah, it was late. So he was just went in the car and read his book for English and did his homework. So I guess it wasn't that bad.
Well, at least you got the homework done. At least it wasn't 0 because you just didn't complete it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened, right, Caden? Yeah. Yeah, you were always on time all semester.
But people enjoyed the show, so like it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, man, it was cool. We really like playing. We love playing live, and I guess that's one of the funnest sort of times for the three of us. Is it the most fun for you? Oh, funnest, most fun. I corrected on my grammar. It was the most fun.
Yeah, but I can't wait until we get back into the act. 2 months is too long.
Yeah, so we like playing pretty regularly, and we have been playing pretty regularly. So when this album comes out, we got 10 shows in 1 month, and then we hope to kind of keep playing through pretty well. We'll probably go back in again in August and see if we can do 3 albums in 3 years.
Oh, wow. Keeping it very active.
Well, what we tend to do is because we're together, we write songs in that. So even when we were going into this album, we already have the songs for the next album played. When we finished the last album, we wrote a whole bunch in the 3 or 4 months afterwards, and by the time the album came out last year in February, we're starting to play a bunch of songs from this album that we're just recorded now. So it's all tight, and you can kind of play it live and get a good rock and feel to it. So when you go into the studio, it's kind of been road tested and that. So we're doing the same thing now, where we'll do mostly the new album that we're doing, but we add like 2 or 3 new songs a night of new stuff and switch those up. So by the time we go back in August, those songs will all be ready to go.
Okay, so were one of the guys going to say something else to that?
Oh no, I was just agreeing. But we have too many songs.
Not a bit. Well, it is kind of funny because you don't even get to them in rehearsal sometimes. So we'll tend to go, let's run the set. And then we had 2 practices ago. We didn't play any songs from our first or second album, which is nothing but new songs, which are kind of more exciting for us when you're doing new songs because it's new, right? So,
yeah.
So we did a whole night of practice of doing nothing that we're playing recently.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's a bit weird though because these songs are new to you, but we've been playing them for like over a year. Some of them.
Yeah, well, that happens.
It's I don't know. I like it. Cool.
Okay, so that's sort of like a more old school mentality, the practicing and getting like all the songs tighter beforehand. Like some bands will take songs in a studio without the intention of even performing them live at all. Is that because you guys like record a specific way, or why is that?
It's more of a time constraint really because I have a job, Dad has a job. So we really we're going in the studio and we have to have these songs ready by the time we go in because we got basically a day to record all the bed tracks and a day to maybe do a few overdubs and some vocals.
And it kind of captures our sound. You know, what we play is it's not a, hey, let's build up the orchestration behind it. Right now we're trying to capture the rawness and the energy of what we do. We captured that on the first album. We captured it, I think, on this album if you've given it a listen. And that's all the bed tracks are live off the floor. A month before, we've been playing these songs. We actually start rehearsing them without me singing because we know when we're recording them, I'm not going to be singing along. I sing afterwards so we don't get bleed into the microphone and we can just concentrate on that. So we did all our first album. We did the whole thing, overdub, singing everything in 9 hours. This album, we doubled the time and did it in 2 days. we did all our 10 bed tracks in the first day, and all the singing and a little bit of the overdubs and corrections the next day, which is kind of funny, but, they don't actually realize that this is really fast to be doing an album. So
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
have no context. They have no context. I'm like, well, no, most guys, record over a week to 2 weeks, a month, and like you say, some people build the songs and all that sort of stuff. We have another friend who has a studio, and we went in and demoed some of the stuff there. But by the time we go in to record, we've got it mapped out what we want to do, and we're pretty efficient with it. This album, more so than say the last one, Ian, the producer guy, Ian Blurton from Pro Gold Studio, where we did it, he pushed us more. He knew on the first one this was their first time ever in a studio. They're 13 years old. They're 17 years old. Guys can crumble in there, and we're doing 9 songs in a day. And he just sort of, after we did a couple of takes, went, hey, that sounds good. He went with it, as opposed to this one where we do a couple of takes and go, that was great. And he goes, no, I think you guys can do it better. So we did like a lot more run-throughs of the bed track to get it down.
Okay.
On this one. But that was just because he was going, no, do it again. Do it again. It's almost there. Just maybe a little faster. Maybe that one a bit slower,
Okay.
So he kind of pushed us a bit more and gave us a bit more feedback to get that great take for us.
Okay, so besides the kids and the younger guys is sorry, I forget the other one's name. I'm mind blanking so hard right now.
No way,
Caden and
Jared. Yeah.
Caden and Jared. Sorry, I mind blanked so hard.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm not going to name. Yeah, I got 4 kids. I run through 4 of their names sometimes.
So, besides the fact that they grew as musicians and the producer pushed you guys, how else did the band progress in between your self-titled release and Manifesto? Did you guys grow lyrically? Did the songs get more feel to them?
100% there, what you said. This album is really strong lyrically compared to the first one. This one had all the songs. There's no he leaves she songs or relationship songs. This is all about us, about what we think about the world, how it could be improved, what we see to be some of the issues, and how we think the world could be. So the lyrics are a lot more hard-hitting on this one, and the dynamics and the playing and the melodies of this is a lot more intricate. Even myself, Jarrett pushed me. He's learning his instrument, and he's pushing me to use different chords and different progressions and more complicated songs. So in that sort of way, we did it. It's got the whole punk rock feel, but we wrote the first one was very, very straightforward garage rock. This one's a lot more intricate as far as lyrics and arrangements go.
On this one, pretty much for each song, I specifically went in to try and apply something I had learned over the past few months on a song. So every song I tried to do something different than I hadn't done on the previous one.
Caden? Anything? Drummer Caden? Anything? Anything on this one from the first one? Anything?
I think I already said it, just did some cooler rolls, that's about it.
Caden's a simple man.
I play drums. My arms are big, right?
Just hold the sticks and look good, right?
Well, Caden likes to have a good time, and Caden likes to rock it out. And he's, what he kind of likes about this, and he even said it me and Jared are more like, hey, we got to do this. Hey, this guy makes, he's like, we got to keep it fun. We got to have fun. And that's a very important part as well, It's one thing to be motivated and me as a songwriter and me as the person who's maybe, driving some stuff because I've done a bit of the stuff. And Jarrett's a guy who's like, okay, I've learned this, I want to learn this, and pushing it. Caden keeps it's got to be good. It's got to have a good feel. So we got to have some fun at practices. We got to keep it fresh.
Awesome.
Could I put some nice words into your mouth, Caden? All right.
Okay, so is there any specific song from either the self-titled release or this release, or even possibly one of the songs that you have coming up in the future that really strikes home for each of you, that you just really love playing or just really means the most for you?
For the first one, the self-titled, I think Time Bomb Heart, it was we captured it pretty good in the studio there. Sort of like, it has a sort of the inexperienced charm to it, and how do I put it? The way we play it now, it's different, but it's also still pretty much the same sort of core of what was in the song, sort of just a hard thrash rocker. For the new one, I'd consider probably the first track, Toxic Reasons, the best representation of it, because it just shows how we matured musically, really. That's my choice.
Yeah, what about a new one that we haven't recorded?
Oh, new one? Ooh. I cannot say.
Yeah, I like, off the first album, I like Could It Be You? I like that one, and I like Time Bomb Heart. There's about, you tend to drop songs, and we're down to about maybe 4 or 5 that we play off of that album now out of the 9. And the second album, Jarrett nails it, where the first song off of it, I think, really captures lyrically, and the way that we're all playing it sort of captures all that in that song. Another one, Do You Want It Now, is it has a, lyrically, I think it really hits home with what we feel philosophically, and perhaps, what is our manifesto of our band and what it's about. The words kind of talk to that, and you look at the end of it, there's another one, I Don't Know What to Believe, has a real good feel to it as well, as far as what goes on. And right now we got a new one called, what's the riffing one that we're doing right now? My Life Story. Yeah, we're having fun playing that just because it's almost like a riff rocking song, and so we're just having and me and Jarrett lock in doing this riff together during this one part, so we're having a lot of fun playing that one. You tend to have more fun with your new ones because it's new and exciting, and like most songs, we try not to play it too much. You got some songs off the first album, we don't need to rehearse it anymore because we probably played it 200 times, right? We just know it.
Caden,
comment?
I'd have to say Half Full Cup. That is,
for context, that's the one that we have not played.
it is our greatest song we've ever made. Musically, lyrically, it's got it all. And I really feel it represents us as a band. And I think it could really go somewhere in the future years.
Yeah, what about the one off the current album?
No, there's none.
There's not just that. That one song that we don't play anymore, that you guys say we don't want to play anymore, is the one that represents us.
I never said that, but I also think Ballad of a Broken Man's really good. It's got a slower tempo that's different feel from the other songs.
Yeah, and it's one we played a lot and still play.
Yeah. So
what about this current album? What do you like playing?
Give something off the card.
I like. I'd probably have to say We Resist.
Yeah, We Resist is on a new one, Caden, yeah.
I think that one's one of our better newer ones.
Yeah, you got a cool drum beat on it, and Jarrett plays an outstanding bass part on it.
It's something I only could have written at that time in that moment.
And for the new ones, I'd have to say I like playing Joyful Bits, which is a new one that we just made. So those are probably my top.
There you go. Yeah, that one we just have played maybe twice or 3 times. We just wrote it about 2 weeks ago.
Awesome. So you guys are still just continuing to attack that, like continuing to push the ball, like so to speak.
Yeah, it's fun that way. And like I say, now we're kind of like, you start to practice, and that Joyful Bits, we just started playing the song. I started doing a little bit of a chord progression, and then I came up with another part, and then we just kind of jammed it out for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we kind of grab a cell phone and go, well, we better not forget this, and we'll record it, and then I go away and we sort of wrote some words to it and come back, and the next practice we kind of solidified the arrangement, and then like we say, it's kind of fun because that's the new one, and I remember that riff.
I still need to finish my part for it.
Oh, okay. We didn't notice.
You never noticed.
I'm just kidding. No, it's awesome, son. Go for it.
The bass can always be louder in the mix.
Yeah, the bass can always be turned down. What do you say, Jarrett? And Caden, do you think the bass should be louder? I think we start every practice with me and Caden say the same thing at the beginning of every practice. Jarrett, you need to turn down. You're drowning everyone out.
Well, you probably get a distortion pedal.
Well, yeah.
Then you'll really have the crunch, right?
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. We're a three-piece, so it's kind of cool that he kind of plays almost a sub-guitar at times.
Okay.
Like there's a one song on the new album called President, the solo, the bass solo.
Yeah,
like
that's me.
So and it's just him distorted out playing a solo on the bass. I just kind of lay down a really thick rhythm right across it, a big wide brush, and Jarrett tends to do more intricate bass parts with more melody in it and leads. And
I consider myself the lead instrument of the band.
Well, that's spoken like a guy who only wants to hear bass, but yeah.
You're not wrong.
I just like to
Everybody
hear,
wants to
look
hear
at the bass
themselves.
mix. Yeah, I know.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Don't worry, don't hurry. Man, don't go anywhere. You guys know that we gotta take care of some more business and play you guys some more tunes before we can get back into our interview with Caden, Jared, and JP of The Discarded. So first off and foremost, I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit more about Collar and Elbow. You guys already heard me tell you guys that Collar and Elbow is a wrestling-inspired streetwear company. You've already heard me tell you about how it was started by ex-WWE XTNA wrestler Al Snow. But let's talk a little bit about what some of these sick items are. Collar and Elbow has tons of fresh, sick clothing that you should be copying right now using that DTP code. Save yourself 10% on some sweet toques. They have some sick shirts. Their basic shirt normally goes for $15. Save yourself an extra $1.50 just by using that Desert Tiger code. That grid shirt that they have, that is super killer. That goes for about $20. They got some sweatpants for those lazy days where you just want to sit at home on the couch and listen to the DTP. Why not save yourself some money on that? And if you're one of those gym goers like I am and you need an extra towel to wipe off your face, they even got one of those going for about $6, and they are sick, nice and black and fresh. You guys know that you want to look sick everywhere you go because, I mean, dress for the life you want, right? Dress like a rock star. Dress like you deserve the life you want. Dress with some fresh new gear from Collar and Elbow. Alright, so you guys know we gotta play you a little bit more music. So this next song by our guest today, of course, The Discarded, is Do You Want It Now?
It's not how fast you play.
Alright, you guys, so it's about that time for our Audible audio book of the week. And on episode 24, our Audible audio book of the week is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Now, some of you guys may recognize Howl's Moving Castle from the Studio Ghibli film that was based on the novel. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a synopsis of the book. Sophie has a great misfortune of being the eldest of 3 daughters, destined to fail miserably should she ever leave home to seek her fate. But when she unwittingly attracts the ire of the Witch of the Waste, Sophie finds herself under a horrid spell that transforms her into an old lady. Her only chance at breaking it lies in the ever-moving castle in the hills, the Wizard Howl's Castle. To untangle the enchantment, Sophie must handle the heartless Howl, strike a bargain with a fire demon, and meet the Witch of the Waste head-on. Along the way, she discovers that there's far more to Howl and herself than first meets the eye. Howl's Moving Castle is not only a amazing, magical, fantastic movie, it also is as a novel. It's a compelling story, and if you're into the sort of fiction type role that this fits, it's good. It has everything. It has action, it has magic, it has drama, it has love. The book is full of emotion, and it is a great story all around. And if you guys want to go ahead and maybe get yourself Howl's Moving Castle in audiobook form, you can do so by going on over to www.audible.com/DTP. It's that simple, and you're going to go ahead and get yourself 1 free month of the Audible service. And you're also going to go ahead and get yourself 1 free audiobook. That's whatever you want to choose it on. It can be Howl's Moving Castle, it can be one of the previous books we've talked about, or it can be whatever you want to listen to. Alright, so now that we've taken care of business and we've listened to a little bit more music, let's get back into our interview with The Discarded.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Okay, so having quite a variation in age and generation in the band, is there quite a variation in influences for your guys' music?
I don't know. Do you want to list your influences? Let's just do it and compare, really. Well, we kind of grew up with them having my musical taste forced upon them. So it'll appear. But anyway, let's all like so it's funny. Like when they're in a car when they were a little kid, I was playing the records, and I didn't play like Christmas songs. I would buy them a classic album. So they, hey guys, you got Raw Power. That's what we're listening to at Christmas, right? Oh gosh, we're gonna listen to a Kiss album, and now we're gonna listen to Black Sabbath or Zeppelin, right? Like that's our classic album for Christmas time. Well, but you consider your so I was really into Ramones. I loved the Buzzcocks, Stiff Little Fingers. All the way, I love the Jam, and then all the way up into, I got into hardcore bands, I got into punk rock bands. I would listen, I love classic rock. So, we listened to Beatles, we listened to the Stones, we listened to the Who, we listened to the Kinks. There's a lot of different stuff that we listened to there. As long as it was like guitar, bass, drums, and sort of rock, that's kind of what I would kind of play, and I would go everything from punk rock and the Sex Pistols all the way over to, listening to a Zeppelin tune or Black Sabbath or something.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's not too much different. The Beatles still remain my favorite band of all time. As Dad has mentioned before, I like a Japanese composer named Shushi Ishii, and I'm weird like that. I also love Sloan, and I don't know, I even like some metal. I wouldn't consider myself a metalhead, but I like some. What?
He likes we had a band that opened for us on our first record release. What are they called, Jarrett?
They're called Locomotivate. I love them dearly, and they constantly poke fun at how much I'm
not poking fun. I went and saw them a week ago with you, and they were awesome. So, I'll give you props. They were great to watch. And, we've got bands that have been helping us
we have bands that have been helping us out on this tour as well. Like Rusty, you know, I have a buddy who plays guitar in that band. They're giving us an opening show. Guy from the Lowest of the Low, they're giving us a couple of opening shows because they heard the album. They went, hey, this is pretty damn cool. We'll get you in front of our audience so that people can hear you. So there's like a lot of cool bands out there that have, you know, kind of been helpful, and you know,
we met a lot of cool bands along the way, and we just pick up their albums, listen to them. They're now like permanent staples in my list. I listen to.
Which I think you said it the other day. Cade said it the other day. He goes, I didn't realize, Dad, that some of these bands weren't hugely popular because you played them all the time.
Yeah, it took me, I'm dead serious, it took me until like 7th grade to realize that I didn't listen to what everyone else listened to. I just thought that everyone loved them.
Yeah, you know, like, not everyone's into Iggy and the Stooges.
One of my big inspirations that is more modern is probably Jay Wienerberg.
Who's that?
He's the current drummer in Slipknot.
Oh my God, that's it!
And, you know, really like his, I like his drumming. I think he's really good. I like his double bass drum stuff that he does. I think it's cool.
So you know what's happening on our 5th album.
Hey, I got a song in top D tuning, so...
Yeah, we're going to be drop tuning and double bass drum by that album.
Getting heavier as time progresses, right?
Yeah. Heavier is relative, I like to say.
Yeah. So, no, but that's, you know, so as far as modern, what sort of modern stuff you into, guys? Like, I like, you know, I listen to the radio. I like some stuff that you hear on the radio. I go, that's a pretty cool song and stuff like that. Like, you know, The Beaches was a pretty cool song to see the women, the women come along and put on a really heavy rocking album. And Sid the Whale, I think a song that they did. And then there's some cool stuff on Dine Alone and New Damage that's pretty cool, like Mets and Biblical and bands like that are pretty damn cool and really heavy. So, you know, there's always a lot of good rock and roll going on. There's a lot of good punk bands that are around, you know, like, and sometimes we get exposed to them because we get on bills with them and that and go, wow, this band's awesome or something like that.
Yeah, that's basically my extent to modern music. I don't really go listening to the radio, so, like, the bands we've met and, like, Sloan, I love Sloan, but they're still releasing music. They got a new album coming out this year. I love them. But they're like a 90s band, technically. But who cares?
Who cares?
They're always good.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you know.
I like how Jay Weinberg was listed as a reference because his dad, Max Weinberg, was actually the drummer for the E Street Band, and he got his son into music. So that's kind of cool how that became an influence for you.
Yeah, big influence. He's exaggerating slightly, but he does.
No, he doesn't. He actually has it downloaded, the stuff. He plays it when we're in the car.
It's been a while.
Okay, so maybe you'll hear it on the latest DJ trip when we go on the tour.
Probably. Yeah, it'll be a staple.
Awesome. So you guys have said that you've toured Southern Ontario. Have you guys broken much outside of that region, or are you going to try to in the near future, or what's the plans for that?
We would love to. We would love to go across Canada out west. We'd love to go across Canada out east. You know, we're finding now a tough thing right now with it is they don't want to book you unless they know you.
Yeah.
Right? You know, 20 years ago, you could say I'm a band and you could book a tour across Canada. Now they don't, you know, here's a show, get a local band with you, or you got to be at a certain sort of stature, or your album's being played, or you get put on some festival or something like that. There's not that I can go out and go across and play in rooms or get booked to play in rooms. It's a lot tougher right now. Having said that, yeah, every time we play them, we're trying to grow a bit. The first album, we got a great reaction compared to, you know, we got, you know, to be able to do a Southern Ontario tour, went all the way from Ottawa. This one, we're hitting a couple of different new places that we haven't played before. And, you know, thanks to a couple of bands that are helping give us exposure in that way. And like I said, we would love to go all the way out to Victoria. We'd love to play Vancouver. We'd love to play Edmonton, you know, all the major centers all the way out west there, and like to go east as well. Yeah, we'll go anywhere. We really do like playing. And I guess one of the advantages of us, as you know, you're talking about the family band, we've traveled together. This is no different than, you know, going to hockey.
Visiting your parents.
Yeah, visiting my parents, or going to a hockey tournament or a lacrosse tournament, where we're used to staying in the same hotel room. We're used to traveling together. You know, and most of the times you're in a band, it could be your best buddy, but you probably didn't live together. You probably didn't share a bathroom. You probably weren't in a car together for 5 hours. We've done that before, you know. What? You need to speak up. You need to speak up and not mumble. What? It's not PG. I don't think they really care if you got a funny joke.
We do not care. You can swear if you want to. You can say whatever you want.
Come on, Kane. Take a fucking chance. He's taking a pass on that because he was probably dissing one of us, right?
Yeah,
So he mumbles most of his jokes underneath his breath and laughs to himself. He's a drummer, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Most of us didn't come from the lead singer's ball sack. So.
Oh, okay. Yes, he was trying to say that unlike other bands, the rest of the band didn't come from the lead singer's ball sack, was actually his joke.
He has a unique sense of humor.
Oh, that's fair. So, how much of the band's work do you guys try and DIY? Do you guys try and, like, book the tours yourselves, or, like, how do you guys handle that?
At this particular point, it's DIY. I mean, the first one was completely that way. So we've got certain connections of people that we know, or people who've heard the albums, who've helped us out, you know, promoters and that are aware of me from playing before, heard what I did here and went, hey, that's pretty damn good, I'll give you a show. So it's all been kind of myself at this particular point, and a couple of really, you know, people that I've known that are within that industry who've helped us out in that regard. Same with the recording, you know, we did that and we got mixed. We did it through Ian, and then, you know, the mastering was done through Joe Carvalho, who his mastering studio. I think he actually got, you know, nominated for a Grammy. But he's like, oh yeah, Joel, I know you. Come on, you can do it at my place. And I'm like, oh, cool, man, thanks. So, and you know, the picture for the album, you know, I found a guy who used to shoot Now Magazine, and Rick McGinnis, great guy. He was like, hey, do you ever do bands anymore, man? He used to take pictures of, like, really famous bands all the time. No, I don't really do that anymore. I go, but, you know, for you, Joel, sure, I'll go do it, man. You know, come on out, I'll shoot you and you guys. And, you know, found another person who helped us do the graphics. So it's all very much that way, you know. Even with Ian, it's just like, hey, man, we need to do this quick. All right, man, I can give you 2 to 3 days. Oh, great, man, thanks. And we go in and do it that way. So we're all pretty big on trying to do it as quick as we can, and as you know, do it yourself means calling on whoever you know to kind of help you out to get it done, right? We made the video, same sort of thing. Another thing, I used to take film, so we'll write the videos up and we'll come in and sort of get our own location and shoot it, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then edit it together, and then, you know, that's us. So until the point that, you know, you have a manager, or you have someone who's a booking agent, or you have someone who's doing that stuff for you, do it yourself, or it doesn't get done, right? Mm-hmm. You know, we put together making the album, we put together the draw out the cover and got someone to do the graphics. We put together making the CD. We got vinyl pressed, you know, all that sort of stuff. We just get together and talk about it, design it, and then make it happen. Yeah.
Big thanks to anyone who really helped us realize the vision, chipped in, did anything, edited the video, shot the video, whatever.
You know,
we're grateful.
No band's an island, as you know, right? And you know, I've known like a lot of different people, and they've been very supportive and very helpful. Even if they're not like doing stuff for us, they're like saying, "Hey, these guys are cool. Go out and see them," or just, you know, helping us along, or telling us about where a show might be, or someone who might be able to help us out. And that's really how it kind of is, and that's really how it kind of builds, you know. So that's what we've been working on.
Okay, awesome. So it sounds like you run a pretty tight ship. Like, you like to have everything planned out and figured out, like, before you approach it and before you attack it. Is that because you've had some experiences in the music industry that have taught you some hard lessons, JP, or is that just how you like to run things?
You know, it's good to be organized. Otherwise, especially if you're trying to accomplish something, like we say, you know, you're not independently wealthy. Most times you're working as well as planned, so you got to make sure you use your time correctly as far as what's going on. So a lot of that comes from have a plan and execute a plan, right? Have I had bad experiences? No, I've had some very nice experiences, but I've also been the guy who's been just the drummer in the band, and things got to a certain thing and certain level, and then you watched it kind of fall apart because people got big heads or people went off somewhere else, or but I haven't really been that screwed over, so to speak. But so it's been a fairly positive experience, and this has been a fairly positive experience. But back to your question, yeah, I do like to plan it out and go, this is what we're going to do. What do you think? And we all go, yep, that's what we're going to do. And then we go, this is how we can do it. And then we move towards doing that. As a band, it's just kind of, we like playing music. But if you're also a band, you also got to go, well, we could just do music and we could just do it in our basement. That would be fun. But if we're going to be a band that's out there, then there's certain things that you need to do in order for you to go, hey, look at us, listen to us, right? Hence, we're sitting here talking to you on a podcast versus we're going, we think what we did's pretty good. Hey, will you call us up and we want to talk about this and we want people to buy our record and we want to make more of them, right?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, we're about that. And at this particular point, it is all do it yourself, and we're into the playing and making the song part. And then there's a few other people kind of guiding us on how we can get it out there and have people go, look at what we're doing. I helped start Exclaim when back in the day, do the distribution. So, I'll phone up Ian, who's the guy who's the publisher, and go, Ian, I'm putting out an album, and I don't expect any favors from him. If it's good, review it. If it isn't, don't do it. And they were fortunate enough that he went, no, that's a pretty cool album, man. And he did a premiere for our video, right? Because that was kind of cool, So you just kind of look at what you've done and the people you bumped into, and fortunately, I've got some good relationships with them that, they were a nice group of people and they like what you're doing. But ultimately, in the end of it, you better have done something that's half decent. And I get back to that with these guys here as well. It's like, it's one thing to be a family, and that's kind of a neat angle, and people ask about that. But we better have good songs, and we better make good music, and we better be tight, because they don't really care that we're a family. They're not going to really care that you're 15 or you're 19 or I'm their dad. Does the song rock, or is it any good?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, in a few years, Caden's going to be an adult, and the kid thing, the family thing will somewhat vanish, basically.
Well, I think we'll all still be related then. But
I know, you can't stop that, but you'll have less of the young drummer in the band angle, and more just...
But we better make good songs. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what that shtick is. You want to listen to a good song, don't you? You don't want to listen to something, hey, that's nice.
A garage band with a gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You just don't want to sit there and ride the fact that you've got, like, underage musicians because, I mean, they're getting older every single day, right?
That's right. And yeah, people do like, and Caden, you've grown a lot in the last year, but it'd be like, well, that little kid's on the drums and he's rocking it out. But you better be rocking it out, because if the little kid's on the drums and he's dropping his drumsticks, then it's not going to be any good for anyone, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I didn't drop my drumsticks. You do better than most drummers.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time you dropped a drumstick.
Practice.
I wasn't paying attention.
I was. Yeah. I was kidding.
I wasn't there.
We're giving a hard time. Anyway, but yeah, that's what's important is the songs that you put out, and that you do a half decent song, and like that. If anything, the gimmick of the family, they think it's more of a joke. Oh, it's dad and his two kids, and then it plays against the type. They're not expecting anything, and they come out, and it's just like, whoa, right in your face. It's going to be some heavy rockin' songs coming your way, and we think we deliver the goods, and that's what matters.
Yeah, when most people hear the idea of a family band, they don't really expect crunching guitars, pounding drums, and the whole punk rock aesthetic.
Yeah.
Jackson 5. Yeah, we're not a Jackson 5 or the Osmonds or...
Yeah. No, the Partridge Family.
All
Things
right.
came together when Dad sang along. I don't know.
Okay, awesome.
Go ahead.
So before I ask my last question of the evening, where can the listeners of the podcast find you guys? Where can they find out more about you? Where can they listen to more of your music?
So we have www.thediscardit.ca. That's our website. You can go there, and all our songs are there if you want to listen to them. Then there's some links to Bandcamp. What do you want to say?
He wants to give our address.
No.
They can hear us live.
They can hear us live. Come to the basement. No, Caden, that's not how it works. So we also have Bandcamp as well. We have a YouTube. You can check us out, our videos there. under The Discarded as well. Bandcamp is The Discarded. You can go on Facebook and see us. We're on Twitter. If you go onto that thediscarded.ca, it has links to all that sort of stuff. And then, our albums get sent out that way as well. If you want to order vinyl, or if you want to order CD, or if you just want to download it, you can get it right off Bandcamp right now.
Yeah.
Both the albums.
We're also on Instagram, but I'm not on Facebook because I have no use for it. But I'm on Twitter on my own separate account, and the band Twitter basically doubles as my dad's account as well. So
Yeah, mostly I'm just putting stuff about the band on it anyway.
and a few
I'm very active.
wasteful comments.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter every day.
Yeah, you never go on Twitter, kid.
Anyway, but yeah,
You go on video games, and that's cool.
yeah, we're all over the place. Just look us up.
Anyway, that's mostly it. It's that the presence is there as far as being able to see what the band's about. There's a little blog on there, and you can, like I say, you can get the music there, because really that's what it's kind of about. Is we want to get that music out. If you want, you can download it, or you can get some vinyl if you're into that, or CD, or come to the live show. You can always get stuff there. Put on a hell of a live show. So if you get a chance, I know you guys are out in Edmonton. Is that right?
I'm out in Kamloops, British Columbia.
Kamloops, fine area. Yeah, right on.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess you won't be able to catch the live show anytime soon, but
We'll try and make our way out there, and then somewhat near future.
Hopefully.
Depends.
yeah.
I
It will
hope-
happen. I can guarantee you that.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope that things like this will help reach the word of The Discarded across Canada, so you'll be able to do that.
Certainly.
Thanks a lot. We really appreciate chatting with you tonight.
All
Yeah, I've
right.
enjoyed it.
All right. So my last question of the evening:
All right, lay it on us.
are your guys' interests outside of The Discarded?
Ooh, do you want to go first?
You go.
I'm an eclectic sort of person, so I love trains of all sorts, history as well. Train history is like a perfect combination. Outside of music, I'm a music nerd, big whoop. What else is there? I like to play video games, not as much anymore since I've started working. What else is there? And I guess my girlfriend, she's an interest. I devote a lot of my time to her.
I hope you're interested in your girlfriend. Okay, yourself, Caden? Come on, say it for real.
I played hockey for a long time. I play lacrosse too. So I like sports. I like playing a lot of video games. I have to go to school and all that, so that's something. And then I like what?
Movies.
Yeah, I like watching a good movie or two. Every once in a while, I like watching NHL hockey teams, Vegas Golden Knights. That's basically it. Just I like chilling, not doing much of anything really.
Yeah. You like sleeping in about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, right?
He saves his energy for drumming.
It saves energy for drumming. Me, I do a lot. I guess music is a pretty central part of what I do. I work, it takes up a good 40 hours of my week at times, sometimes longer, and I got to drive there and back. I've got kids that are in sports. I've refereed lacrosse. I've coached lacrosse. I've coached hockey. Just family time, basically. They have a younger brother, and I have a younger son, Trey, who's 11. I've got a younger daughter, Sadie, who's 7. So hanging out with them as well is a lot of fun. And Sadie has demanded to be in every one of our videos so far. So
We've gotten her in one, so
yeah, well, she's in the other one as a pitcher.
fair enough.
So
all of our videos.
all our videos there. So there's that. In between that, just hang with the guys here. We watch some movies, hanging out,
Yeah.
cook a good meal, make some good music, and that's pretty well life can get. Doesn't get much better than that.
Awesome. What kind of movies do you guys like watching?
Oh, we watched Shawshank Redemption the other night. We watched one about National Lampoon. The founder of that just came on Netflix. We watched Inglourious Bastards the other night. What else did you watch there?
Grand Hotel Budapest.
Grand Hotel Budapest. We try to, if it's a half-decent movie, we like something that's half-decently made.
Mm-hmm. We watched Help recently.
Yeah. But actually, my daughter was watching Scooby-Doo endlessly. So we said, here's a movie. Why don't you watch Help? Well, now she's obsessed with the Beatles and has watched Help probably about 8 or 9 times in a row. But I guess that's better than her watching the same Scooby-Doo episode over and over again. And what else? Yeah, we watched the movie Snatch the other night. That was a pretty funny one. That was good. It's aged well. So, we'll just cruise the Netflix and see what's come up. We watched Black Mirror. We will get into a series and watch that and go all through it,
I sometimes like to buy a lot of older movies. I watched North by Northwest recently. It still pretty much holds up pretty well.
Yeah, we watched The Punisher, and that was another one that we went through. Oh, we didn't finish it? We got to get back to the last few episodes. So that's what we do. When you're chilling, you got a night off. It's just going to chill back, maybe watch an NHL game or watch the hockey game or
Family
chill
time.
back. Have some. It's kind of funny. We jam downstairs in our basement, and that's also the boys' room. So one bed's on one end, one bed's on the other. Drum sets right beside the one bed, bass amps beside the other one, my amps in the middle, PA's there. So we can sit there, have a meal, go downstairs, jam for an hour and a half, practice, come upstairs and just chill on the couch and watch a movie or a hockey game. So it's kind of like a little rock and roll household.
Awesome. What kind of video games do the boys like playing?
What are you into, guys?
I haven't played it in a while.
You were Overwatch for a while.
I was Overwatch for a while. I need to get back into that. Team Fortress 2, I have sunk way too many hours into. Payday 2, I also like City Skylines. Mainly just shooters and strategy, really.
What's you?
And you?
I played a lot of GTA 5, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, CSGO, and TF2. Those are my main ones. And I've been playing a bit of Fortnite, but not too much.
He's a much heavier gamer than me because he has lots of free time.
Awesome decisions. I play a little bit of Team Fortress 2 myself, so I can have some mad respect for that.
1,000 hours.
Oh, wow.
Probably over that, honestly.
I think
I've been playing since 2012.
Jeez. I think my highest game is Dota, like 260 hours.
Ouch. I've sunk like 600 hours into Payday 2. I used to be ridiculous.
I also love Payday, so I understand that.
It's all good.
All right, on.
All right,
Well,
well,
it's
thank you
been great
guys.
chatting, buddy.
Yeah, thank you guys
Yeah,
so
it's
much for
been-
doing this.
It's been awesome. It's like the first all-band
Yeah,
interview.
it's the first time we've done all three of us together doing an interview because not very easy to just get us all on the phone at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad that we could get everybody in and that we could make that all work.
Yeah, he popped our cherry as far as this concerned, boys.
Are you serious, Caden? That was his joke, wasn't it?
That was Caden's joke, and I stole it, man.
Are you leaving?
What? That was something you'd say, for sure. That's totally something you'd say.
Oh, God.
Anyway, man.
Thank you for giving us
Thanks.
time.
Hey, no problem. Thank
Great.
you guys. Alright, so you guys know it's about that time where we give a little bit of respect, where we give a shout out, where we give a big on old DTP thank you to Jared, to Caden, and to JP of The Discarded for joining me, Colton G, here on the DTP. I had a great time talking to the guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed my interview with them just as much as I did. I also want to take this time to thank Melanie K for setting up this interview. I have mad love for Melanie. If you've heard me talk about her in the past, she's setting up some of our past interviews, including our past interview with The Real Mackenzies and our past interview with Kenny Lush of Daggermouth. If you haven't heard those episodes, you should definitely go and check them out. And if you are a punk band looking for a solid PR person, I would definitely suggest Melanie K to you. I would also like to give a huge, massive, big thank you to you guys, the listeners of the Desert Tiger podcast. Once again, wherever you're listening on, whatever you're listening from, whoever you are. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 24 of the Desert Tiger podcast. You guys are killing it here every single week. We love you so friggin' much. I know that we is me, but seriously, I love you guys so much because you're killing it every single week with your tuning in, with your listening, with emailing me. everything that you guys do. You are fantastic, and I love you. So as you know, as we do with every week, we like to end things off with a little bit of a quote to get you motivated, to get you a little inspired, to get you ready to tackle your weekend and whatever the hell it has in it that you need to take on. Today's quote comes to us from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.
Everybody's got an angle. Should I bite at the carrot that you dangle? I don't accept it, it's black or white. Who says I gotta join your fight? I believe there are shades of gray. More I believe the things that you say. My opinion, you're trying to sway. I'll reserve my judgment for another day. I don't mean to sound the alarm. I don't want to do no harm. It's so easy to be deceived. I don't know what to believe. I'm trying to find a greater good. Trying to determine the ones from the shoulds. I take a stand if I understood. I don't understand if I only good. The more I learn, the less I know. The news today, it's like a show. Trying to lead me the way they want me to go. Just like the wind, I think it blows. I don't mean to sound the alarm. I don't want to do no harm. It's so easy to be deceived. I don't know what to believe. You on the left, you on the right. Hate the other and you must fight. Stand up for what you believe. I think I'll just wait and see. How'd there get to be so much hate? Should lovers control our fate? Not some blind ideology. If that's the case, you can't count on me. I don't mean to sound the alarm. I don't mean to sound the alarm. I don't want to do no harm. I don't want to do no harm. It's so easy to be deceived. It's so easy to be deceived. I don't know what to believe. 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 I don't know what to believe.
The Desert Tiger Podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review. iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thanks for listening.